Welcome to the Lighter Side Show. I'm your host, Jamie Butler, the Everyday Medium, and I'm on set with Colleen Ziegler, my favorite person in the whole world, and Mommy.
Yes, I am a mom as well, not Jamie's mom.
Clear sensitive. Would that be crazy?
That'd be so weird.
But I wanted you here because I want to pick your brain about how do you talk to your kids about energy. And I broke down some age groups, and I'd really like to get your insight on how you have managed a few things, and I'll share how I have.
Great.
Awesome. Before we get into that, Lumineers, some housekeeping notes. You guys want to know what's going on, where we are, classes, workshops, travel, check out jamiebutlermedium.com and sign up for the newsletter. What was that? Sign up for the newsletter. It's just so much easier. We do a lot. Mm-hmm. Colleen sets up a lot. You organize that newsletter like perfectly. I love it. It's just easy to navigate. Thank you for that. And we have Luma Summit coming. Ooh, it's right on our heels, October 19th through the 21st, 2018. It is the second Luma Summit we've done. For all you Lumineers out there, you asked for it. It's back. Yay! I want to remind you guys, if you're interested.
It came so fast.
I can't believe we just did the last one.
Yes, I know. It came up so fast.
And it took us a long time to come down from the last one. I learned so much information. I was like energetically high for months afterwards.
I will say my experience at Luma Summit, I knew all of the facilitators.
Yes.
I knew every single one of them in some shape or form, whether they're on the network, on an episode, but I knew all of them. When they got on stage, something special happened. It was just like, whoa, that was incredible. There was something about the collective energy there where everybody was just everyone was on fire. Like it was amazing.
I bet you called it spiritual boot camp.
Yeah, it was spiritual boot camp for sure. We didn't do quite the boot camp. We still have a very full schedule, believe me. But last year we went into the night, both nights, and we decided not to do that. We need to give everyone a little break.
Yes. Yep. To make friends.
Absolutely. And enjoy the city.
And receive hugs. Okay. So Lumineers, if you're interested in experiencing 3 days of incredible high vibrational energy and goodness and just everything great, even with pop-up stores, sound healing, kundalini yoga, walks in the woods in the back and connecting to the trees. Sagrera has an amazing class. Mm-hmm. All of that, please head over to jamiebutlermedium.com and buy your ticket today. We keep it small for a reason, so I would really love if you are resonating with this that you get a ticket. I wouldn't want to see you wake up one day and go, I'd like to go, and we don't have any more space because we're not going to stretch our waistline with this. We're not going to expand.
We actually don't have the physical room either.
Yeah. Keep it small for a reason. To build an intimate relationship and enjoy really good food from Natsumi. Yum. I can't wait.
Amazing. And not only does it taste good, it's freaking gorgeous.
It is. It looks like a piece of art.
It's so pretty. It's like when she brings that in and everyone goes to lunch, the first thing you see everyone do is break out their phones because they're all taking pictures of the food because it's beautiful.
I remember somebody asking, can we eat that? I was like, yes, everything Natsumi puts on the plate is edible. And they were like, no, can we eat this? I'm like, yes, everything is
beautiful
edible.
Flowers. And she's just, not only is she a wonderful chef and I guess with the raw food, it's more she's a food preparer, but she's a beautiful artist as well. She's really got a nice eye.
Oh, we should put her link down so you guys can go to her website and see all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So check out for Natsumi's link below here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's now dive into how do you talk to your kids about energy? We say kids. I don't know where your head is going, if you're hitting toddler or like your preteen or even your 16-year-old. So I want to break it down a little bit.
Okay.
I want to group it into the kids that are just learning how to talk, like our 2 to 3-year-olds, really young, 2, 3. And for me, when we're talking about energy in this arena, I want to substitute the word energy and watch how we kind of morph through the years and change the term energy to give them words that they can understand with what they're experiencing at their age. So when they're little, even up to 6 is a magic word for me when we're talking about kids. I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen it with mine. I've seen it with kids that I've worked with before. At the age of 6, they've gone through kindergarten. They're going into 1st grade, and all of a sudden it is the real world. We're slowly pulling them out of their imagination world, and we're saying, here's how it happens. Sit down, be still, and listen to me talk to you. Not you guys, you can move about. But I'm like, that's what happens
whoa,
in school.
Jamie.
I remember crying. Yeah. I did not want to go to school. 1st grade, tears.
Yeah.
Ask me to sit still. Are you kidding?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I've experienced that with my own children, so definitely it's a hard thing to do.
So what I've noticed with imagination and the young kids, 3 to 6, they're observing energy almost in light form. So when I was talking to my kids about energy, and I only opened up about energy to my kids after they inquired about it. So my son actually asked, what is that? And he pointed to something, which was air. And there was clearly nothing there. Then
so he was saying it, but you weren't.
No, I wasn't tuned in.
Okay.
So I was just seeing with normal eyes. Yeah. But then he would say, Mama, what is that? It was cute. It was like, what is that?
Yeah. Oh.
I miss that. He'd ask, who is that? So he was seeing spirit, which spirit is energy. And he sometimes talked about his other lifetimes and experiences. And that's all about energy as well. So I wouldn't say anything until he brought it to me. Sure. He was the crazy kid. Like, look at my flashlight. Look at my color. I'm shining. You know, and we couldn't put clothes on him because he was so intrigued about how he was shining, running around naked. I was like, oh my God.
Well, that's such a sweet, tender age too, that before 6, and I would say even before then, depending on the child, where they do still have those memories.
Yes.
And easily talk about them and don't think that there's anything about talking about them, but just that's what it was. So, you know, the past life stuff, the before they came here stuff, and the energy stuff, they can see it easier. It's not turned off.
Yeah, it's not turned off. Yeah. It is not abnormal. Everything is still normal, no matter what they're doing between, you know, infancy to 6 years old is normalized from them because they haven't been in the big groups where the authority figure is now coaching. This is not normal. Stop this behavior. And this is okay behavior to present.
Sure.
So somebody is really grooming them because as parents, you know, Lumineers were mostly live here, create, run with the wolves, go for it. Okay, maybe not the wolves. Run with the chickens. Go for it. Though we did have a mean rooster growing up, but we'll skip that story. So
I won't go there.
So for my kids, I reacted after they opened up the door. And it was both, what is that? They were inquisitive. They wanted the information. And then I would present it in terms of light.
Were they ever seeing things together? Or was it coming at separate times for each of them? They're, 3 years apart?
Yeah, there's 3 years apart, so it was different. But uniquely enough, it was same age group.
Got it.
Doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I did talk to them about their energetic system, that they had light on them. Of course, my son was seeing it, so that was a little easy. I did talk about the chakra system, the balls of light. He would ask me about the balls of light, and he was really intrigued about how they were spinning, how they moved. And he'd tell me, that's moving, this is stop moving, and he would show concern. So we had a conversation over that. I wouldn't say that's necessarily going to be your average case, but
probably not.
I think maybe as kids are coming in now, wow.
I mean, even if they're not talking about balls of light, they're talking about the balls of light in the room, you know, or I mean, it happens, I think, a lot with kids, and it's so shut down.
Yes.
You know, we've had an episode, I think it was maybe in the first season, about imaginary friends and just how that's, you know, it's not that welcomed, especially after a certain age. It's cute at a certain age, but then once
They boot
it
them
goes
out.
on, yep.
They filter them.
Mm-hmm.
I was just having a flashback. Both of my
Yeah.
kids' first words were light.
Mm.
Not coaching them to say light. Coaching
That's
them
amazing. Both of
severely
them.
to say mama.
Yeah.
Mama, mama. They didn't do that. They looked up and they went, light? I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So, easy enough for me to talk about light, especially if they're seeing spirit. I didn't say, this is a disembodied person or a dead person. That's not going to make sense. I said, this is a light person. This is light. You see light. And they got it. They knew the difference then between, mommy is here and this is a light friend or a light.
At what age then? I'm just curious that because I don't think I've heard this from you before. Like the light friend. At what age then did they begin to understand that it was actually a transitioned person?
I'd say after
because
6,
I'm assuming they're seeing
6.
human spirits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, after 6. Because this is about the time, where the hamsters had crossed over and we got our guinea pigs. And, so they're seeing life begin and life end.
And understanding
talk
that
about
process.
It. Yes, they don't have a body, but this is a light person. And my son was traumatized at night when the light people would show up and watch him sleep. Hated it. And he would stay awake and he'd scream about it. So we had to have a conversation. The light friends have to stay outside of the room. Our spirit friends. Yes.
Energetic boundaries.
Yes. Which is huge for the next age range. The 7 to 8ers.
Yes. If they can get this at this age, and gosh, even earlier if they're ready, there's many adults right now learning this for the first time. Or I wouldn't say learning it for the first time, but actually putting it into place.
Well, I'd stand behind learning.
Yeah.
Because we have to let go of what we've been taught. And so we have to learn a whole new system to apply it.
Sure.
But I find that around 7 and 8, when we've gone through about 2 years of a solid structured school system, if your kids are doing structured school systems, they'll kind of lose their visual aspect. They're kind of setting that aside. They know now that it's their imagination. And so they're not really falling into the clairvoyancy. And so I changed the word light, which represented energy, to feelings, emotions, and start talking about emotions. Here's the best opportunity to go get your needs list. NVC, Nonviolent Communication Needs List, has all the emotions, needs met, needs unmet, so forth. Build the vocabulary. Because now they're turning into those clairsentient people and they're feeling everything. Happiness, joy. Why is that kid like that? Why are they mean? Why is this happening?
It took me until I was 40.
Which was yesterday.
Well, it was 3 years ago. But I'm not afraid of saying my age. But and I know that I've said this on episodes before, but I'm just going to reiterate, to find out what my needs were. Like, of course, we all have these everyday needs that we meet, we hygiene and everything, but it's not the same as when you look at that nonviolent communication list and you look at needs and you do the cards and you look at it and you go, oh my gosh, if someone would have done that with me when I was 7.
What?
I can't even imagine how, not only does that shift you energetically, it shifts, your own life. I don't even know how to put it into words. I'm having a hard time putting it into words. Because it shifts your energetic being, but then it shifts your energetic space, and it shifts everything around you to have not only that awareness, but for people and adults in your life to have that awareness of your needs. I mean, I remember one time when I sat down with my daughter and we were having a challenging time. We were butting heads about something, and I think it might have been school. And I broke out that needs list, and we each talked about our needs, and I was crying because it's like her little heart and what her needs were, and that was just, I'm going to tie this back in because her energy was just going so inward. because her needs were not being met every single day.
Oh,
I mean, every day.
but it's something we wouldn't be aware of.
I mean,
unless we had the conversation.
Yes. Yeah. And it was hard. It was hard to face that as a parent. But, it's amazing how our emotions and our needs and all of that truly is a huge part of our energetic body.
Big time. Mm-hmm. And what's not a big part of our energetic body are some of these day-to-day structures that we're taught to have to be a contributing, happy, successful citizen.
I mean, it reminds me, and we'll tie this in, but at the channeling once a month at the center, if you haven't been to the center, Jamie does a channeling once a month on a Friday night. And beforehand, she'll talk to the audience about making sure that your needs are met at that very time. It's not a big in-depth discussion, but it's like, if you're uncomfortable, go outside, go to the bathroom. If you need to take that phone call, go do it. And it's this reminder that when we don't have our needs met, it shifts the energy in the whole room. So, if I'm sitting in the room and I'm going, oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom so bad, and I am so thirsty and I am so hot, and I'm sitting there with all of that, Jesse's laughing at me, but and not taking care of myself, then the person next to me starts to feel it. And then the person next to me starts to feel it. And it's like, but that goes for every single day. So just take care of yourself, and you really will shift the energy within you through that self-care. And then as a result, with the people that you come into contact with every day.
I think that sounds...
Including your sweet little children.
Yes, I was
who are
going to
more
say,
sensitive than ever.
That sounds so simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it sounds so simple sometimes we overlook it.
Yes.
And we don't give that option to our kids because we've just said to our kids, be you. Man, I'm totally supporting you. Go for it. But that's not the same language as remember to put yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
I just had the conversation with Malou about putting yourself first this morning.
And she's 10?
Yes, she's 10, about to be 11.
Yep.
And she was talking about being in class and needing a saw to finish her product. Mm-hmm. She's building a box. And another kid needed the clamp that she was using to hold the wood in place. And the guy was like, listen, I really need that clamp. And she was like, man, I felt bad that he needed it. So I gave it to him. And I said, when you're done, please give it back. Well, this kid didn't remember to give it back. Long story short, she couldn't finish her project. And she felt so tore up about it because she was care providing for everybody else's needs and not able to say, I'll give you the clamp as soon as I'm done cutting this piece. Because then she could have finished.
Yep.
So it's interesting.
It is.
She doesn't think of it.
And how that simple action, and I'm sure you talked to her about this, affected her energy for the rest of the day. Even so much so it was the morning after that she was still hanging on to it. Yes.
Oh, that clamp. I was like, oh, girl, let's chat. It's okay.
Let's talk about the clamp.
Let's talk about the clamp. But I wanted to hang out here between ages 3 and 8 because I feel like these are the glory years for talking about energy. And I would definitely follow the kids' lead. These are the years where they're still kind of malleable. They've got a taste of what it's like to be in a structured situation at school, but they still come home and they're kind of being them. So I wanted to know, did you have any experiences as a mom with your kids coming to you and saying, well, I used to be this, or I knew you, or this is who you were in another life, or any kind of things like that?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Yeah. No, I know I've shared this before, maybe on one episode. I can't remember what it was. Particularly with one child. I don't remember it so much with another. But with one child, there was a couple of times, and it was around the same period because I remember we were in the same house. The memory is of her sitting on my lap in this house. So it was the same, maybe around 4. And she came up and sat on my lap, and we were just sitting there, and she had a very serious expression on her face. And she looked at me and said, do you remember when I was the grown-up and you were the kid? And I think that it came right after a time of probably me telling her what to do, or you know what I mean? Just something. I was being a mom of some kind. And just a very serious, do you remember that? And I was like, oh, tell me more. And there really wasn't more to the discussion. It was just, do you remember when I was the grown-up and you were the kid? And then there was another time around the same time period. And again, she must have been 4. I'd say 4. Where she came, sat on my lap, and again, very serious look in her face, and started telling me about before she came into this body, she met with a woman who had a very long list, and they went over this list and really talked about this life, and she chose me to be her mom.
Wow.
So those are 2 memories that really are clear and stick.
Have you had any more examples like after the age of 8?
Not so much. Not stories like that. I mean, we'll definitely talk about the woo-woo stuff at my house, but not, and we'll talk about energy and energy healing and all of that, but not stories of past lives or anything like that.
Yeah, I really find after they start school, all those things go away.
Mm-hmm.
Like their first
other things take over.
Relationship with language and expression. They're like, I really want to tell you. Do you remember when, I used to babysit this girl, Samantha, and I had a guide named Samantha Ann before. Mm-hmm. I've shared this. And Samantha Ann, my guide, told me goodbye one day, and it was the first time I'd had a spirit say, see you later, I'm not going to be with you anymore.
I don't think I have heard this, Jimmy. If I have, I don't remember it.
And I was babysitting this family, and the mother got pregnant, and they already had 3 kids, so this was number 4. And when she came in, they had all these names picked. Mm-hmm. And then when I came over to see the baby, she was like, I don't know what happened. As soon as we saw her, I knew her name was Samantha Ann. And I was like, what? I was like, well, that's very interesting, And
you didn't say, I had a spirit guide who said goodbye.
And still goosebumps. And there was one day I
haven't heard this story.
In the car seat, because I would drive them around, and she's maybe 3. She's looking out the window, and she goes, do you remember when we had horses? And there was a life when Samantha Ann was my guide. We talked about a life we had together, and we had a farm, and we had horses. And so I took a deep breath, and I went, yes, I do. She goes, I miss that. I said, I do too. She goes, I miss you. I was like, what the crazy hell is going on?
Yeah.
And there were several times she talked about it, but she got about 6 years old.
So you're with this family for a long time.
I was with them for a long time.
Yeah.
Loved it. All through college.
Wow.
So, I had moments like that, moments with my own kids talking about, picking me before they got here. But then after 5, 6, 7, 8, no more. Yeah. None of it's talked about ever again.
I think it's so fascinating, and I'm glad you brought it up, because our children talk about these things, but there's other children in our lives that, and we all know that we've had this connection, and certainly with animals too, where you've seen them before. There's a very sweet story. I want to share it just really quick.
Yes.
Because it's the sweetest story, and I love it, and you know it too. So Jamie and I are friends with a couple, Laura and Joan, and I've known them for quite some time, and so has Jamie. We both, matter of fact, I think that's how I know you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's because they introduced us. And Laura and Joan are in their 60s, and they have a next door neighbor, little girl, and I don't know why I can't remember her name. But she, I won't go into the whole story, but she has fallen in love with them and talks about them all the time. Told her mom that she wants to marry Laura and Joan. She named her doll Joan. All this stuff. And so, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember her name. Anyway, there's this very sweet exchange, and Joan instantly knew there's something more here. I see this child maybe twice a year.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
She's 4 now, but when she's waving out the window, and she wanted to tell Joan when she started school. So, and one of the challenges Joan asked when I believe it was Grace. And it was, oh, absolutely. This is a child of a past life who came to you in this lifetime because she knew that you did not have any children and wanted to be a part of your life in this way. So it's so sweet, and it just confirms that we have children that come to us in other ways besides, through us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
And you can
So
have
sweet.
these conversations with them. They're not going to break or totally dismantle their psyche. This is something that they're carrying with them quite easily until about that 8, 9, 10, 11.
Do you think that we're ever going to get to a point where that doesn't break anymore? I mean, certainly there's stories of children where that doesn't, but where that doesn't, or is that just really part of our human experience where we do have that break, so we really can stop and be human for a little bit and not have those memories? I don't know the answer to that, as far as like maybe some of us are different than others where we have to let go of those memories to have our human experience. I mean, like in your case, maybe that was why you had to quit.
Why my parents made me quit.
Yeah.
I heard it's necessary.
You don't hear about a lot of 6-year-olds quitting.
Nope. I would have kept on going seeing dead people. I had a good time.
Yeah. But maybe that was just part of your journey. So you could kind of step aside and be human
me,
for a while.
Decide which is that 8 to 11 year time frame where kids decide, who am I? How do I identify myself? Am I the leader? Am I the follower? Am I the mean kid? Am I the nice kid? Am I the, they're trying on different shoes, characters, personalities, all these things.
Sure. Am I a kid? Am I an adult? Am I like, because there's that little medium there where
and they
questioning
go
those things.
To all the doubting stuff. That's not real. What I used to believe in, I don't believe in anymore. Yeah. That's just kid stuff. That's silly. That's your imagination. That's, you'll develop all that language at that time and just kind of try to push it aside so they can figure out who they are, because now they're looking at mom, dad. They're really looking at everybody who's an authority or somebody they respect, and they want to mimic it. Yeah. So if you're not expressing your spiritual belief systems, your religious belief systems, your energy practices with them, and you're waking up and doing it, before the lights go on in the house so you have quiet time, and they're not seeing it, it's not going to be part of their vocabulary. They're not going to think it's normal. Oh, you're just telling me to do that. Which is why ages 3 to 8, I like to have the conversations about light and emotions. You even mentioned about breathing exercises.
Well, I call it the good timeout.
The good timeout.
Because we use, think about it, we use timeout as this punishment when...
Go away.
Think about how important it is to teach time out, where you just kind of go sit and you be with yourself and you breathe and you're comfortable, and not using it so much as a punishment, but just like, okay, this is just quiet head time space.
I'd love that.
But it's like we treat it like a punishment. Oh, you got to go be by yourself alone. That's a bad thing. You are bad. It's just interesting.
Try doing that now with a kid who hasn't had those experiences at 9, 10, 11, when they have their phone, their tablet, their TV, their computers, all this, and the instant feedback, and you're like, you need to go get in a good timeout. They're going to think you're nuts.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I need to figure out how many stars I'm going to get when this kangaroo baby takes care of this giraffe or whatever's happening on this game. It's so crazy. You don't have that game?
I don't know what
We'll talk about it later.
It's obviously a game that you're familiar with. I don't know what you're talking about. So we've talked about the doubtful age, and then we get on to 12 and up.
Yes.
And that gets tricky. It gets really tricky. Give us some advice around 12 and up. Because I don't know that I have the quality advice around that.
Oh, I'm in it right now and trying to navigate it. But with my clients and with my clients who bring in their little ones, their teens, about between 9 and 10, once they figured out kind of who they're going to be, that's when I start talking about, this is all energy. Everything is energy. This is when I get into it. So I have a few students now. One is 13, one is 15. and they meet with me every week or every other week, and I have 2 hours with them. And we sit down and we break down what is energy. How can they see it? I show them sound vibration. I show them definitions of color. I make sure they know how their eyes are working, what their emotions are, and if their emotions belong to them or do they belong to somebody else. And then we break down their abilities to perceive energy. What are they good at? That's when you start talking to your kids. What are you good at? If you've got to learn this information, what's the easiest way you can do that? Are you a visual learner? Are you a kinetic learner? Are you an audio learner? And then I take it from there and morphing it into their clairaudient, clairsentient.
And do you find with these 2 students that their clairs are already showing themselves?
They are defined, yes. By 13, so that's my youngest one right now, it's definitely defined. In fact, so much so that it is shaking or disturbing their personality and who they want to be in their school and with their friends. Because at school, they're not normal. Now they're stepping out. They've defined themselves between that 8 and 11, and now they've got something that is seen different within the structure. And so I'm giving them the vocabulary of how do you talk to your friends? How do you talk to your teacher? Especially for my 15-year-old. How do they go up to the teacher and say, I'm having a moment. I need to step out into the hallway and collect myself, without it looking like a weakness. This is something that's seen as a strength. It's a boundary setting. So we have to really have the words in place from when they're younger about boundaries so that when they get older, they can use those boundaries. And so now they're aware this energy is happening in this relationship, or this girl said that to me and it was really mean, and now I'm wounded because they feel it's a cause and effect because that's what they've been taught, when really what somebody is saying to you is what they're directly announcing about themselves. And when we start looking at it, translating the information that way, my 15-year-old just went, oh my God. So I can see they're hurting about that. Yes. She's like, okay. But now she's worried about how is everybody else seeing it. Because now she's got the information, but not every other person is doing it that way.
Sure.
I go, well, guess what? Not your responsibility. It's like, wait, what? What? Not my responsibility as a teenager to do all of that? Like, no.
So you think, or what I'm hearing you say, is it's really like it depends on the kid.
Yeah.
And it depends. It's such a case-by-case situation of how you are going to handle that with a tween and a teenager. Really trying, and you're actually lucky that you have the students that are willing to define those roles, because a lot of kids in that age group are not going to want to talk about their clairs.
No. No.
And so that's when you just go, maybe present the information. I'm here when you want to talk about it, and leave it at that. And then just lead by example. I mean, I know, I won't call my daughter out completely, but my older daughter, wasn't too much into the woo. I think it was almost as like her little rebellion against me. She might say differently. I don't know if she's going to watch this or not, but and just recently has started showing an interest, and she's 23. So, started showing a much bigger interest in astrology, but also a very big interest in chakras and energy. And this is stuff I was talking about when she was, 13, 14. I was talking about it like it was everyday stuff. But she'd be like, whoa, that's your stuff. That kind of stuff. Like, or how you start talking it to someone and then they just start glazing over. That's what I felt. So I kind of shut down with being so vocal about that.
You followed her lead.
Yes, but that's also kind of what I felt like in my own home at that same age with religion. I just kind of started feeling like shutting down, and I think that that's a very natural thing to do at that age energetically, is to shut down because you want to determine things on your own. You want to figure all that out on your own.
I agree.
It's an independent thing. So you close your energy off, you set up your energetic boundary against your parents. It's true, and you go, okay, I'm gonna figure out some of this for myself, whether it be religion, energy healing, metaphysical stuff, whatever it is. It's so much more of an independent type of situation.
I agree. I'll also encourage Lumineer parents, Lumi parents, if your tween or teen is interested in this, or you feel that they're struggling with something like this, find somebody who can teach them about it. And I would ask that it's approached from more of a scientific viewpoint, because they already have the years of indoctrination in school about seeing the facts in the book and then taking that on as a reality for themselves and creating a belief system with it. So their head and their heart has to be on the same page to create that belief system. And if you find someone who's extremely woo-woo in it, that's not a negative. I'm just saying, who doesn't approach it from a scientific viewpoint, you might find that your child goes, I can't place this. I don't know how to organize it. It's too organic for me. It's too loose. I need to have it organized so that I can experiment with it and see it and play it over and over again before I make it mine. So that's something nice to put in your back pocket and know.
Something I really enjoy is when teenagers show up at the public channelings. I think that for some reason I'm just so fascinated by it. Because I'm like, and sometimes you can watch their energy. I'm always in the back of the room, so I was watching everybody's energy. You can watch their energy. You can always tell when they came there on their own accord or when they were brought there by a parent. I mean, I've literally seen teens leave and go in the hallway and sleep.
In sleep?
Yes. Take a nap. That's okay. It's totally fine. I totally get
awesome.
it. Yeah, totally get it. But there are other times, I can think of one time within the past couple of months, where a brother and a sister came and, they're a little bit younger. They sat up front and they sat together. They asked a question. It was just like, they're so sweet. And I know who their mom is. So if you're watching, she's done a great job because she's obviously presented this to them and let them decide for themselves. She was not with them that evening. It was just very sweet. It was Cindy's
really
kids.
Cool. Did you just throw it out there?
Because if Cindy's watching, she'll enjoy that. I really enjoyed when Cindy's kids came to the channeling.
Yes.
Can I say that? Can I say her name?
You didn't say her last name, so yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And her address and her social security
No,
number.
but she's a Lumineer, and she's obviously, her kids are too. You know what I mean? I thought, that's sweet. I mean, I show Lily trans channeling, but only because she comes to work with me. She gets to hang out with us.
With Maitland and Grace and everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we hope this chat with you today has helped you understand wherever your children are and whatever kind of parent or care provider that you are, and how to have a conversation about energy with the children who are energetically sensitive, who are curious.
And I would venture to say that they probably have a lot to teach us.
Yes.
As well. So we can teach them, but they're probably going to give it right back to us and go, oh, I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
that's not how it is.
No, Mama. That's not. This is what's going on. This is what my guide taught me.
Well, Lumineers, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for lending us your eyes, your ears. We can't wait to see you in the next episode. And remember, it's not woo-woo, it's true. Bye.
With Jamie.